Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the 107 podcast with myself, Jacob, and my co-host, Ash. If at first you don't succeed, you try and try 110 times until you are finally a Grand Prix winning driver. A huge congratulations to Lando Norris. If you haven't seen, he's all over my feed at the moment. Old quotes of doing a lie detector test and old videos of him apparently wanting to jump in the lake at the MTC when he gets his first win and stuff. If you haven't heard, he won the Miami Grand Prix quite unexpectedly, I guess, going into the weekend anyway. And we emerge with a new race winner. We've had 3 different race winners so far this season, which is not something I expected to say at the start of the season, right, Ash?
I think you said Max was just going to win every single race.
I think I did literally say Max will win every single race. And so far I've been proven wrong, which I'm quite happy about. Something just really quickly as well. This will probably be a short podcast episode because both myself and Ash are sick. So we're fighting through. And if that isn't worth subscribing to our podcast.
Look at that segue.
That was not planned. If that's not worth following our podcast on your preferred podcast platform right bloody now, then I don't know what is.
I should say we're unwell, and it's not because anyone was drinking and partying
all
night. Oh, were you?
It's funny you should say that.
Did you break out the Almave?
I didn't break out the Almave. Because also that wouldn't have got me drunk. But I don't know if you remember, I was telling you about this a while ago, back in 2021, 22, or whenever it was, I can't remember. No, 23, it was 23. McLaren did this special bottle of Jack Daniels.
Yes, I remember.
And I remember telling you, I really want this because it's very cool, huge McLaren fan, blah, 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 blah. So I went to Iceland quite recently during the Japanese Grand Prix weekend, and on my way back, they had a bottle in the airport. Yeah. So I bought the bottle, and I said to myself, I'm going to save this until McLaren's next win. Little did I know that was the very next race week. The very next one.
You have to buy a bottle every time.
So apparently now I have to... There's a new one coming, by the way. There's a 2024 version. There's a new one coming. But to prove, I will literally crack it open on recording right now and enjoy a cheeky little drink on the podcast. I'm also... It's like cough medicine. That's another good excuse
Whatever excuse you want to give to drink Jack Daniels, you can give.
Oh Jesus! Right. I'm gonna crack this. How do you crack the seal?
You got to open the plastic.
You can tell, by the way, I don't really drink very often at all because I don't know how to open a bottle of Jack Daniels. Hold on, here we go. I don't want to ruin the seal as well. There we go. For audio listeners, I do apologise because this will be semi-visual. But yeah, here we go. Just cracking it open for the first time. Oh, I forgot how this stuff smells. Hold on, I've got to pour this strategically as well. I'll do about that much.
Wow.
It's been watered down a little bit. It's been watered down, so
okay.
That's what we'll go for. I'll sip it gently throughout the podcast.
Okay.
But
that'll help your throat.
Here's to you, Lando, Andrea, and the rest of the team in Woking. Cheers.
What does it taste like?
That's warm. It tastes like victory.
That tastes like promotion.
My throat is not handling that.
Don't throw up. Do not throw up.
Oh my God, that is like fire on top of a fire. Wowee. Well, you'll know when I sip that because you will just hear me almost dying. But yes, a huge congratulations to McLaren. Oh God, my Jesus, it's warming my soul.
They took advantage of the safety car. They stayed up longer, pitted down on the safety car, and there's reports that Verstappen had a little bit of damage crossing over the bollard, which was his fault.
Wouldn't surprise me. No,
it was his fault anyway. But Lando and those McLaren upgrades, as Oscar did quite well.
Yeah.
Just ran away. He built up a decent gap and just controlled the race. And hopefully that means that they can bring the fight to Red Bull for the next, hopefully throughout the season. I don't think they're quite there yet based on qualifying, but definitely race pace, they're there. Well, they also seem to have struggled on the softer tires in qualifying, so they super well on mediums. But you know what? Red Bull might have more of a tricky season this year.
So yeah, I think one thing to remember as well is that obviously Oscar had his race ruined essentially by Carlos, right?
Okay, stop.
Because of the damage he sustained. Carlos did also get a penalty for that, by the way. Yeah. So let's not get too bogged down about whose fault is whose, right? But you can tell we're sick because that sentence made no sense. But he still had a decent amount of pace and he didn't have the full upgrade package, right? I think once both McLarens are on the same spec and they'll be able to work in tandem, work together, especially when it comes to strategy, then I feel as though they would be able to take the fight towards Red Bull and bridge that gap between Ferrari and Red Bull. However, Ferrari do have upgrades coming as well. So those upgrades might do very well as well. You never know.
Well, I think that highlighted that, Sergio started well throughout the season, but him not being in P2 is probably why Lando won the race.
It's a big problem. Yeah.
That's a problem. And if I'm Red Bull and I'm looking at that, it's like, well, shit, McLaren are coming. Oscar he's up there. He set the fastest lap of the race. All right. Circumstances. But he set the fastest lap of the race. They're like, okay, this could be a little bit of a challenge now.
Yeah. Well, Piastri also set the fastest lap of the race, but took it away from Lando. So more than likely, Lando would have kept that fastest lap. More than likely. Isn't guaranteed, obviously. But
and Sergio almost took out half the grid.
Oh my god! At the start, did you see Max's reaction to seeing the? Oh my god! I think Max literally watched that back and was like, "Oh my, he was this close to being demoted to Racing Bulls. Like that was outrageously close."
Yeah, because he would have taken out Carlos, Leclerc.
Yeah, and Max.
And Max. No, Max, he would have just missed Max. But
if he'd have clipped Max, is what I mean, then he probably would have then barreled into the other two Ferraris. And then Lando would have won anyway. So, but yeah.
Well, unless it was like the sprint race.
It was,
up and Fernando got sandwiched.
Should we, obviously we have the big storyline or the big thing of the week, which obviously is the Lando victory and the McLaren victory. They've only won twice in 12 years, which is insane when you think about it. But sprint race, do we have anything really we want to talk about? Sprint race or sprint quali or anything like that? I have one thing.
Only obviously is a bit unlucky for Lando, but
a bit unlucky.
I think the big talking point was Magnussen and Hamilton and the penalties.
Yeah.
And there's one side saying, "Oh, that's racing. We want it to go racing hard." And Lewis was like, "Yeah, I loved it." And then, K-Mag was like, "I had to do what I had to do for the team." But I think a line was crossed where there's racing hard and then there's just playing out, right? I know I'm not going to get any points.
Essentially cheating,
right? Which is I'm just going to do everything I can to block this person.
Cutting corners
just braking as late as possible. There's racing hard and then there's just like, you shall not pass, right?
Yeah.
I think he crossed the line there a little bit a few times.
I think he didn't do it maliciously. Like, he didn't crash into the other driver. And that's why I feel as though a line wasn't essentially crossed, but it was walked quite heavily.
But then what that can do is that can lead on to, it's like, all right, well, maybe if Leclerc or let's just say Sainz is leading, Leclerc just fuck up everyone's races, right? Yeah. Not even race hard, just like fuck up everyone's races.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, it's a team game. It's a team sport. I mean, he can do that as well within his rights.
What it's leading to is not this racing hard. It's just overstepping the mark. And what it could be like, oh, I'm just going to brake here. I know I'm going to lock up. And if he turns and crashes into me, oh, well, tough luck.
I do get what you mean.
I think it could just open the door up to some nasty incidents. So
it could, but I doubt it, like, quite heavily, because
I don't think it will,
depends. It's situational, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, we've seen stuff like Crashgate, right?
True, yeah.
So
I actually saw a video of that just before recording this as well. So
yeah, we've seen like the Nico Rosberg Hamilton lock up for Monaco qualifying, right?
Hold on, I'm just excuse me.
Oh gosh, he's taking another sip. So yeah, racing hard. I think obviously all the drivers are for it. Oh my god. But yeah, I think it went a little bit too far. Also, K-Mag is not impressing me with his driving.
I love it. I'm here for the shithousery. Like, I know I'm saying that incredibly biased. Like, I really am.
Yeah,
but
you gotta take your
the shithousery is it is entertaining, and that's what arguably that's what we watch the sport for, is that entertainment. So I do get it. It's not very sportsmanship like, especially when you have especially all of the drivers congratulating Lando.
Like, oh well, it was his fault. He doesn't really like the Logan incident. That was harsh. That was harsh from Logan.
Yeah, yes and no.
And it's not this race and the sprint. He's consistently involved in altercations. As Charles Leclerc said,
Yeah, true. Yeah, I think the Logan situation, which happened in the race proper, not sprint race. I do think that if Magnussen had terminal damage like Logan did, Logan would have got a penalty for it. For me, it was very 50-50. I think
K-Mag just should have just let off the accelerator.
He probably should have done, but then again, also all the time you have to leave a space. So there is also that argument as well.
He left him the space in the first corner, right? And then he doesn't have to leave him space in the second corner. But talking about leaving the space, the Alpines side by side.
The Alpines at the beginning was so entertaining.
That was so good. I was like, they're going to crash. And when they went side by side to that really tiny kink, the one, I was like, wow, that's racing.
I was so surprised that they weren't damaged. And I messaged Charlie, who we had on a previous episode, who works on the floor of the Alpine, by the way. If you haven't heard that episode, please go and check it out. Even sick, I'm able to plug our own podcast. I messaged him and I was like, your heart must have been in your mouth. And he literally messaged me like, Jesus. But also a huge congrats to Charlie and the rest of the team down at Alpine for getting a point. Nobody seemed to pick up on that or care, because Lando, managed to actually win a race for the first time.
Esteban went from 10-second penalty to 10th place.
Yeah. No, it's great. So yeah, hats off to everyone down at Alpine. But I think that the incident, obviously first lap, where like Gasly was essentially trying to overtake Ocon and Ocon was trying to like defend his position. I think Gasly may have seen that he hasn't registered a single on-track overtake this entire season, and was like, well, I have a car equally as bad as mine right next to me. Here's one I prepared earlier. And it just didn't work out very well, did it?
No, it didn't. But fair play to the Alpines. They've struggled a lot. This with a point.
Yeah, I'm sure Charlie won't mind me saying, but I was messaging him and he was so happy. He told me he was so happy with 1 point. I know that sounds silly, but like almost like that. That George Russell, like P9, I'm crying over P9. But it must be like
when you're struggling to get out of Q1.
Yeah,
to get a point in a track like Miami, it wasn't as many overtakes.
Doesn't suit their car either.
Yeah,
doesn't.
To do that, fair play, man. You got to give it. And like the only way is up, right?
To Alpine.
You're just using any excuse to drink Jack Daniels.
It's just my throat because I'm sick. Oh my god! Ow. Anywho, the other thing I wanted to talk about sprint race was Danny Ricciardo did very well.
He did.
Hats off to Danny. Hats off. I mean, he sort of dropped the ball in the actual race,
but Yuki picks it up.
Yuki picked it up, and that's why it's a team game. We've come full circle, everyone. It's a team game. Yuki was there to pick up the pieces, which was brilliant. In the actual race. But Daniel did definitely do very well in the sprint race. It's a shame he didn't do that in race proper. But I mean, this new chassis seems to have given him a lot more confidence. So let's see what happens when we roll into Imola. It could have been a flash in the pan, maybe, but let's wait and see,
Just wait and see. Yeah, it's only been one race.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you should-
So yeah, but it reminded me a little bit of Mexico last year. He had that one race which like he did really, really well in, and then didn't do so well the rest of the season. So I hope that that's not the same case. And that Daniel Ricciardo, wow, that was a bad slip. Daniel Ricciardo can obviously pull it out the bag at least more than once every 10 races at the moment, which is seemingly what the track record is. So hopefully Danny can push on.
Well, that's what he's got to do now. He's got to show that consistency. It can't be like said the flash in the pan. Oh, he won in Monza, and then it was just nothing after that. And then he did well in Mexico, and then nothing after that. So yeah, we shall find out in Imola. Imola next.
Imola is next.
Lots of upgrades coming for lots of
cars. I do love. Hold on, let me very quickly find this. Right. Obviously, this isn't a podcast about Imola. However, I love the title for this one, which is the Formula One MSC Cruises Gran Premio del Made in Italy e del Emilia Romagna Grand Prix 2024. I love the name of it purely because it's so stupidly long. It's brilliant. I absolutely love it. Yeah, but that is the next race week. It's not this weekend coming. It's like the weekend after. It's the 17th to the 19th of May.
Do you know what I'm most happy about, the upgrade I'm most happy about for Imola? The non 20% blue Ferrari.
Yes, let's talk about that a little bit, shall we? My God, was that disappointing.
That was so disappointing.
Mate, the expectations were so high.
And they just kept teasing like blue here, blue overalls.
No.
Blue for the mechanics.
The shirts that they had, the Miami special edition shirts, as soon as I saw those, I was like, car's going to be all blue. It's going to look so good. It's going to be two-tone, like the top half is going to be light blue, and then the bottom half, where it's typically like black, is going to have like a darker blue undertone. Oh, that's going to look spicy. Wrong. It was bad. It was bad.
We talked about it. It was like, okay, maybe if it goes out on track, it might be a little bit different.
No, wrong. No, just looked worse. They would have been better off, honestly, just keeping the original livery.
Have you heard of this Mythical Drivers stuff?
Mythical Drive? Oh God, what is this?
Mythical Drivers is like post-appendix Carlos Sainz.
Right. Yes. Okay.
Or like was it cut nose Lando Norris?
Lando. I think it should. You know how some like athletes and stuff like that have like superstitions. I think he should put a plaster on his nose next race and see whether or not it helps. Just purely because he can, and it's just like a little thing that might give him that extra 0.5% in the race. So
I like that. So.
Yeah, but it's also like I imagine like all of these other drivers beating up. Like, right, okay, one of us has got to have some sort of injury next. One of us has got to like break a toe on a coffee table, or like I don't know.
Well, they're going to be able to drive, eh?
Yeah. So what else? Well, I mean, Carlos had his appendix out and then drove. So I mean, like, what injuries can we get away with?
It's just like muscle tweaks.
Like a black eye, maybe. Black eye. I mean, maybe some dental work.
Like, I think most drivers have some kind of niggler injuries.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, like, how many times do my hips click all the time, or even though I'm a child, I'm not old at all. But like, you must have some like horrible little like recurring injury. Like,
my knee is fucked.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So like, I'm sure these drivers who do a hell of a lot more activity than we do will be going into sessions with little bits and pieces that they need, like. They need like the tape that essentially does nothing, like that stretches over the skin. That
kinesio tape.
Yeah, it's all completely placebo, by the way. Sorry if I've just ruined that for you. It's completely placebo. It's bullshit.
But it looks cool.
It does look cool. It does make you look like a professional. So, but it is bullshit. But. Yeah, they must do. So, but somebody needs to pick up some sort of injury, like a paper cut, or maybe they accidentally staple their hand, or I don't know, some sort of normal, like, chip the tooth on a metal straw because we can't have plastic ones anymore because we've got to save turtles, something like that.
Turtles. But yeah, I think overall the race, honestly, like when I saw Max Verstappen leads, I was like, oh, this race is over. But because it was at a normal time, I was like, I'm going to watch it all. And it was a fairly exciting race. Like,
Mate, the race was actually good.
Lewis, like actually, a lot of people were just going for some good overtakes, good battles, like Esteban and Alonso, Lewis and Hulkenberg.
Yeah.
George Russell, Charles Leclerc made a few good overtakes. I think one on Lewis actually that was quite good. But yeah, it was a decent race, and whatever you say, like the damage to Max, Lando won that on merit. The team decided to go longer.
Yeah,
like there might be a safety car. It came out. They took advantage, and I honestly thought Max might get him out like the first corner because he was quite close. At the start, but
perfect line through that corner. It was the perfect line,
and he got away. He pulled the gap, controlled the race, and he just yeeted himself into that jump. Was funny.
The jump was so good. It was so good. The celebrations were great, and I love that every single driver pretty much that
Lewis was so happy.
Lewis was unbelievably happy. In the car anyway. But I do like that the first person to congratulate him in person was Alonso. I do like that a little bit, like purely because Alonso was his first teammate when he came into McLaren, sort of took him under his wing a little bit. It was like a really for me at least, I thought it was a really wholesome moment.
Yeah.
So I really liked that actually.
Yeah, the fact that he walked over to P1, 2, and 3 and it's like, well done.
Yeah, it was really nice.
I think there's a bit of a good relationship there between them two.
Absolutely. Yeah. And why did Max look happier that Lando won than he did the last week when he won? Like, the fight is so confusing.
It's very just like, so he's just so used to it, right?
Maybe, yeah.
And obviously, like, it's one of his mates, right?
Yeah, true.
Take it out. It's like a friend of mine has won his first race. He should have won one earlier. He's been on the podium a load of times. He's been in the sport for 5 years, up and down, quick cars, not so quick cars.
Yeah.
Maybe even been written off a couple of times. Like, Daniel Ricciardo's coming, or Carlos Sainz, and all that. But,
he's beaten them all.
Yeah, he's shown that he deserves to be where he is, and that McLaren sticking with him and him sticking with McLaren has paid off. I just hope that this is the first of a few more.
Fingers crossed. So here's my papaya tinted glasses firmly on. These upgrades should hopefully propel the team a little bit further forward, and that does give me hope going into the rest of the season that we're going to see maybe one or two, maybe other victories.
Yeah, I think this is not the last McLaren victory this season.
Fingers crossed, this is not the last McLaren victory this season. For various different reasons, but also you have to remember that Piastri is such a fucking talent, it's ridiculous, and he didn't even have the full upgrade package, so he could also be up there as well. We could see, both of them have Grand Prix victories this year. And I was watching the post-race show, and I saw Will, who is Lando's race engineer. He was saying how this track shouldn't have suited their upgrades either.
Yeah.
Meaning that there are tracks coming up that will better suit the upgrades, meaning they will be quicker and more competitive at other tracks. Meaning they're going to be more competitive at tracks where, they've already won this season. That is such a positive. He seemed very quietly confident and excited to go through the next few races and see how things go. But like I said, very interesting to see how Oscar takes these upgrades too.
Is it also funny that Red Bull announced that Adrian Newey is leaving and they lose the first race after that announcement?
I was listening to Will Buxton as well, like him or not like him, but he was saying how essentially every time Newey has left a team, they've just been in tatters. Like, they've never really fully recovered from it. And then for them to lose literally the next race is insane.
I mean, it's just purely coincidental. But
let's be honest. It is coincidental, but it is definitely funny. Definitely very funny. But yeah, I don't really have much else to talk about through the weekend, to be honest with you. There was some great racing, some great overtakes. I think Miami, I know I said I don't really see the point in Miami previously, but it did actually give us a very entertaining race. So You know what, Miami Grand Prix organisers, I take that back. I do apologise.
I think they calmed down a lot on the celebrities. I know there was loads of celebrities there, and Camila Cabello, I don't know how you say it.
Yeah, sure.
Was kind of shown a little bit, but they did calm down a lot on the celebrities.
I think they didn't have the cringy driver announcement show thing this year, which I actually appreciated that they didn't bother doing that. That was really, really good.
So, I think the only thing to say is I just want to talk about Aston Martin. Stroll did well.
Sure, yeah, let's do a little bit of Aston.
Qualifying Alonso, but it's just a bit of a worry how they're fighting with Alpine.
Yeah, they've fallen off massively. It's so odd.
Yeah, so it's a little bit strange what's happening with that team. I hope they do a McLaren. I hope they do bring a big upgrade package.
Yeah,
and
yeah, it's hardly a advertisement to Newey. Hey, come here, we're beating Alpine. It's hardly really something to go down that route with.
Yeah, so I hope they've got some upgrades coming because
hopefully,
yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, they should be up there with their facilities. They should be a lot higher than the position show.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Miami is a track that doesn't suit them, so there is also that argument too.
True.
Which also means they're not going to do very well at Canada in a couple of weeks' time.
Nothing to say about Team Stake. Literally, they were invisible
completely
for the whole
invisible,
weekend.
Yeah. So
Logan Sargent out-qualified Alex Albon.
Yeah.
That is the story of the weekend. Forget Lando.
Yeah, get out of it, Lando, you loser.
It's like Logan Sargent even though it's a technicality, he did out-qualify.
Hey, a win is a win. A win is a win, you know?
Yeah, especially at his home race.
You know what? Cheers, Logan.
Any excuse.
Oh my god, I don't want to drink this. My throat really hurts.
Oh gosh. But yeah, no. Overall, a decent race, and yeah, I look forward to now the European leg of the season.
Yeah, me too. Oh Jesus, we've got that does not help my throat. Yeah, because we've got Imola, and then we roll through to Monaco, Canada.
Have a triple header coming up.
We do. Would you like to explain the triple header?
Yes. So on the weekend of the 17th of May, we have Imola.
Mm-hmm.
The week after, we have Monaco, and then the week after that is Canada.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just trying to work out if it was like a week on. So that should be a good. So if we're looking at McLaren, they should do well in Imola, and they should do well in Monaco. Based on what they said about Miami, they shouldn't do well in Canada, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know. But then also, I'd just like to point out, we then have another triple header immediately afterwards.
Yeah, I think I've messed up my dates because I'm not well. 24 to 26. Yeah, sorry. There is a gap in between Monaco and Canada.
So is there? Oh, okay. Because that's what. To be fair, when you said triple header, I was like, yeah, it's Spain, Austria, Great Britain.
No. Yeah, Spain, Austria, Great Britain. I was.
But
I was like, Monaco's Canada. Yeah, I was like, well. Yeah, we've got a double header, Canada, and then a triple
header. Yeah.
Then Hungary, and then we've got
Hungary
break.
Yeah, then we've got the summer break after Belgium.
Yeah.
But it's going to be very interesting to see, because I know that a couple of other teams have planned upgrades for Imola, because it's the first round of Europe. So it's going to be very interesting to see who brings what upgrades and stuff like that. So we will have to wait and see, because it's going to be interesting to see, because I think we're going to have a little bit of a reshuffle in the grid.
We are.
But I will very
tighter fight between McLaren and Ferrari.
Yeah, very confidently, however, say that Williams and Stake will be still at the bottom. I think that's very, very comfortable to say that, which is a bit unfortunate. The other thing I wanted to talk about is don't you have something to shout live on air?
Do I?
Begins. Oh, you're sick, aren't you? Begins with B.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I won bingo.
You did. You won bingo, I think.
I did. Yeah. Hold on.
This whole podcast is a fever dream. I'm not kidding.
I think we're like Lando post Miami. We're just fucked. But yes, I have won bingo because
You have, yes.
I had a driver complains of no drink.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it was, but we
God knows, but yeah.
Also, Carl, what's his name? Charles didn't have a drink for the whole race.
Yeah.
We had a surprise package at testing.
We did.
The Alpines are so bad.
We did,
had the crash under the safety car with Stroll.
We did, yes.
We had 20 cars finish.
We did, yeah.
Race. And we had a new race winner, which I remember. I was like, oh, that could be a difficult one. And you're like, Lando hasn't won yet. And like, oh, yeah.
And then guess what happened this weekend?
He won. So, what's my prize? An open bottle.
We said
that Jack Daniels.
We said that we would get a trophy sorted, didn't we?
I think we did. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we did. So we should get you a small trophy sorted. Yeah. Congratulations on winning bingo. I'll be honest with you. I may or may not have also won bingo, but I genuinely can't be bothered to check.
You need to check.
I should check. I'm just very sick. But I was also busy checking Fantasy F1.
Oh, gosh, I've done so badly.
Have you actually?
I need to double check, but yes.
So,
I don't change it.
Yeah, that might be your downfall, if I'm honest. But I did very well last week. I got 358 points.
I can't remember. Have we had a driver change this season? Sounds like we have.
No, only for FP. Wait, no. We must have done because Logan Sargent, Oliver Behrman.
Dude, you got a bingo as well.
Did I get bingo as well then?
Yeah, because Ocon got a penalty.
Yeah.
30 cars finish.
Yep.
And a podium.
Yep.
A driver change.
Yep.
And you had the French Revolution with Ocon and Gasly having that first lap fight.
Are we going to count
that
French
was a
Revolution?
Fight. That was a fight. Neither of them were giving up.
It wasn't what was in my head. So does that mean technically if that happened earlier on in the race, does that mean I technically won bingo before you?
I think you would have won bingo
if I'd have bothered to say it. I would have won bingo. Okay.
You didn't say bingo.
No, I didn't say bingo. So them's the rules, people.
Them be the rules.
Them's the rules. But yeah, so Fantasy F1, I did play my Limitless token. So that's why I did so well. Because
my strategy is I'm waiting till the field equalizes because look at what McLaren have done. So now I can make some changes coming up.
So hold on a minute. So you're waiting until the everything equalizes, so then it's even more difficult to work out who's
saying, like, this first few races has been a bit up and down, kind of.
Yeah.
Max aside, like Mercedes are there, they're not there, and Ferrari there, and Carlos is beating Charles, and now McLaren are up there. Yeah. Now, kind of a pecking order seems to be coming up with these McLaren updates. So I'm going to wait past Imola because there's a lot of updates then. Yeah. And then I'm going to start making loads of changes and hopefully bring myself back up F1 Fantasy.
Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. In our 107 league, I'm second.
Who's first?
Malaysian F1. He is about 50 points ahead of me. So I'm on 12.97 and he's on 13.57. So it's not far off.
Tight up top.
And then you are currently down in 6th with 1,159.
I'll bring that up. I've still got loads of chips to play.
Yeah, you've got loads of chips. I've only used one, but I was listening to, or I checked out like fantasy tips and stuff like that through some people that we've been following on Instagram recently.
Yeah, what's that guy? F1
Fantasy HQ.
Yeah.
He was like, it's a sprint weekend. There's extra points on offer, so you might as well use your tokens on sprint weekends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the bloke's got a bloody point. So I listened to him, and it's paid off. I'm second, so I'll take it. I think he's absolutely right. Yeah, use your tokens on sprint weekends.
That's a good shout. That is a
good shout. So that's why I used my Limitless token so I could grab everything. But we should get him on the podcast. If he won't be listening to this, the invitation's open. Yeah, come and chat to us. He's already spoken to Terry, I believe, and Alison and Lynette as well. So over at iGiven F1. So yeah, the door is always open to interesting people. Just like Oliver Caldwell, who finished P8 this weekend in Le Mans.
Well done, Ollie.
EMS. Yeah, well done. P8 is much better than we could have done. Huge congratulations. It looked like a reason. I watched the highlights. Did seem like a reasonably interesting race. Guess who got a podium?
Go ahead.
Frederick Vesti.
Oh.
Which is interesting as well. Finished P3 off the top of my head. That may, again, I'm sick. That may have been a fever dream. But yeah, very interesting. And I believe that means now he's going to start setting off for his cycling tour. So if you have no idea what we're on about, a cycling tour, Oliver Caldwell, who the hell is that? Go and check out our last podcast episode. Our last podcast episode where we chat to him. He was a former F2 and F3 driver, F3 race winner, and is now racing in European Le Mans Series and did some F1 testing with Alpine as well. And he was an absolute pleasure to talk to, genuinely, really nice bloke. And we wish him all the best of luck while he tries to raise money for Mind, a UK-based mental health charity, to raise some money for them during this ridiculous cycle, all the way from Silverstone to Monza, which is insane. So hats off to him, best of luck to him, and we should hopefully be catching up with him, maybe if stars align, times and schedules align, catching up with him post Monza. For him, I guess, which won't be post Monza for us, but he'll come back, maybe.
And he's got a trip to Spain in between.
Yeah, trip to Spain in between, which is just ridiculous. Oh no, Portugal. Was it Portugal?
Was it Portugal?
Yeah, because
either way, he's got to cycle, race, and then continue the cycle,
and then continue the cycle. Yeah, the bloke's mental, but I love it. It's great. So hats off to him. But yeah, I don't believe we have anything else to talk about other than F1 Academy. Woo! We can talk about that in we're recording it in like 10-15 minutes, aren't we? We have a special episode coming with Karina on the grid, who will be joining us as a permanent guest host throughout the year, talking about F1 Academy every single race weekend. But I really enjoyed this race weekend. I won't say much more than that, but if you are interested in F1 Academy, go and check out our other episode, which will be releasing around about the same time as this one.
Cool.
Yeah. Depends on my fever dream, in all honesty. I'm about to cough. I need to have another sip of something. Oh, look, what's this?
He's finished the glass. That was a big swig.
Oh my God, that does not feel good on my throat. It's annoying because I actually like the drink. However, sick. It's not good in my throat.
Dude, stop doing that now. You don't need to prove anything to anyone.
I'll chase it down with some tea. The perfect mix.
But yeah, good race weekend.
Yeah.
2-week gap for Imola. I'm sure Lando would take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Lewis told him to change his flights.
Yeah, well, apparently he was supposed to fly back Sunday evening, but Zach apparently told him we're not flying back tonight, which is perfect.
And the McLaren sign at Woking is lit orange.
Did you go and see it?
Yeah, I drove past it.
Nice.
I didn't go and see it.
Yeah, but you drove past it. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. No, I did also see that Lando posted his like sleep or like lack thereof on Instagram. It was like 1% recovery because presumably he has like a fitness tracker or something like that.
There'll be a few more plasters on his face.
Yeah, he just said worth it or something along those lines, which is really, really good. Yeah, just brilliant. But I'm based off of the back of this. I am going to throw a theory out there.
I was going to say one thing before you signed off.
Okay, that's fine. So here's my theory, right? I am going to predict / theorize that Oscar Piastri will get his first race win in Hungary.
Okay, wow, that's very specific.
So, here's why.
All right.
Typically, where do race winners have their first race win?
Okay, Hungary. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Who now has a fast car?
Oscar Piastri.
Right. Okay. So that's literally, it's only two things. It's also wishful thinking because I'll be.
That's the Jack Daniels talking.
That is the Jack Daniels talking. Yes.
I was gonna say, are we going to see Max Verstappen go scorched earth?
I don't think so.
Remember when he lost in Singapore and he was like, fuck this. This is not happening for a long time.
I don't think so, because Carlos only recently just won, and he didn't go scorched earth then. So
But like no, but the reason, right, is obviously Singapore, the car was not suited.
It just didn't work, no.
Right. In Melbourne, the brakes were gone. He has to retire the car, right?
Yeah.
This one, but that wasn't his fault, and the car in Singapore wasn't his fault, right? This one, it was his fault, right? He cut the corner, hit the bollard.
Yeah.
Which actually caused the VSC.
Well, it called the VSC, which
kind of had that ripple effect.
Had a bit of a ripple effect, and then it caused the safety car later on because of Logan.
Yeah, it had the ripple effect.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, not again.
We'll have to wait and see, won't we?
We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think that's all.
Yeah, we don't really have a lot else to talk about. Obviously, F1 Academy in the next special episode with Karina. But yeah, fantastic weekend, honestly. I take back what I said, Miami. Keep the race on the calendar. That race will definitely have a special place. That race will definitely have a special place in my heart for sure. As it will to another young Brit. Phenomenal.
Well done, Lando. Well done, McLaren. Thank you for listening. If you're not following us on your preferred podcast platform, please do. It means a lot. And rate, it means twice as much to us. And we're just like Lando, right? We're just waiting. We're just waiting for our win.
If at first you don't succeed,
we're going to try
110 times. 110th episode is going to go to the moon. To the moon.
Episode will be the one.
Yeah.
But yeah, see you all hopefully for our episode around F1 Academy, but also for our Imola preview.
Cheers, everyone.
Goodbye.